Hey everybody, this is John from Desert Rock Pottery here. It's been a long time since I've done a video, and I had this thought, as a company, we want to be responsible in all of our actions. One of those actions that's been on my mind lately is about being ecologically responsible when we dispose of clay and such. So when this is the basic premise, or the basic process, I should say, when we have somebody that's working on the wheel, and I just noticed I can't turn this around, but anyways, so when we have somebody working on one of our potter's wheels, there's almost always some scraps. So we have people actually just put their scraps on this table. This table is actually a wedging table, but we also use it to kind of dry out some of the scraps. And so actually what I'll do is here, I have a little, let's see, clean this off. Little scraper here, and I will just kind of scrape it and turn it over, let it kind of dry out a little bit, and then we will just wedge it back into new clay. However, when we're cleaning our hands, our tools, our wheels and such, there's a lot more clay that it's too small to try to pick up with fingers. So what we do is when we got into this space, we had a sink put in, and this is our sink. We have a three slot sink. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And the thing is that, okay, we're washing our hands in the water. Where does all that clay go? Well, we don't want things going down into the sewers. So the one thing that we did is we had installed a clay trap, kind of a DIY type clay trap, a 3-stage. So it's a big tote, and inside the tote is 2 buckets, probably about this size, about 2.5 gallons. So there's 2 of those with a PVC going between them. So the water will flow from the sink out the pipe into the first bucket. When that fills up, it goes into the second bucket. So the first bucket pretty much just catches very heavy materials. So if there's larger chunks of clay or stuff, that's where that usually catches in the first trap. The second bucket or trap gets more of the sedimentary materials, and what flows from there, because there's some holes, and I'll show you here in a minute, goes into the third compartment, which is the main compartment, which hopefully by the time it flows out, it is it has to flow from one side of the trap to the other. So let's take a look at that real quick. I have some buckets here. I'm going to try to do this, being that this does not. So what we have here, okay, here is where the pipe coming from the sink comes into this bucket, flows through this little PVC pipe here from one to another into this one. Now this bucket has holes. Now the people who did this for me, I would not have made these holes this big. I personally would have liked something smaller. I'm actually considering putting in some kind of fabric or something, like you might see for a filter system for a fish tank, to kind of block these holes and keep more of the stuff in here. And then through the holes it goes into the main compartment. Now I just cleaned this out, and so what I did to get started is I actually took a sponge like this, and I would just kind of sit it, let's see if I can do this here, kind of sit it on the water and take out most of the water without really disturbing the sediments. Let's try that again, like this. Okay. Until I get down to the sediments. Now, being that this has really almost nothing in it, I'm not going to do it all the way. Then what I do is I'll just take a little Dixie cup, little one of these, and I'll start scooping. So this is what I just filled up today. I had started maybe about a week or two, a couple weeks ago, and filled up about maybe a third of this. So this is the rest from today. This is just the water that I took out. Let's see if I can. There we go. This bucket just has the water. It's pretty much just water. There's a little sediments on the bottom because this is what I emptied out when I put when I was processing some other clay. So, and that actually leads me to the next point. So once we fill up the buckets, now I just took a bucket from here, so I'm gonna let this one sit maybe for a couple of weeks. The weight of the materials is gonna, you know, steadily settle down, and I'll take water off of the top of that to kind of allow it to dry, you know, so it starts getting more air. In the summertime, which it's not, but in the summertime when it's hot, I would probably take the bucket outside, maybe put some cheesecloth or something over it so stuff doesn't get in there, let it evaporate. So this is our processed or mystery clay, which is what we call it, mystery clay that's ready to be processed. Now, we also can note that we have this one. This is a B mix. So what you're seeing is we have two different kinds of buckets here, and actually we have more. So each clay, when I showed you on the table, we had the clay there, but sometimes things get left or they dry out or whatever, or we purposely allow them to dry out, like when I'm doing trimmings or something. So what we do is we crush that stuff down, we put it in a bucket, add water, and to make new clay that way. That's another way we process our clay. So going along back to the mystery clay, which is the stuff out of the clay trap, once it gets, this is a relative term, but pretty dry, we will take it and we'll put it on this little table here. Okay, it's about an inch or so thick, like a plaster slab, and so it's going to start to absorb the moisture that's in this clay. It doesn't smell good, trust me, but this is how we do it. And then maybe tomorrow or something we'll see how things work, but I will start to flip it, turn it to get air all around it, you know, and then we will break it up and start wedging it into clay and eventually into a block of clay. And I have an example of that I'm going to take over to this table. So this was about 13 pounds of clay. And 1 second. I should have had this ready, I know. Okay, so this is actually a block of mystery clay. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's different colors. There's blacks, there's browns, there's white, and all that. And it's just the collection of all the clay from the trap and worked out. So this clay on the slab, this is from the same bucket. Same lot of clay. And so it'll be interesting to see how this clay works, if it works well or it doesn't work well. But this is our process so that we not so much that we're not having to buy clay, although that is definitely an aid, but also so we're not throwing stuff into our landfills, down our drainage systems and all that, to be a little more ecologically responsible. If you have any questions on this, and how to get this started in your own studio, whether it's in a home or in a commercial space, you can give me a call at 888-664-0560, or probably better yet is to send an email to support@desertrockpottery.com. So this is all I had to really say today. I hope you guys are out there practicing. Remember, practice, patience, perseverance, keep it up, and you'll go far. This has been John from Desert Rock Pottery saying goodbye.